Now then, how are you doing? In this demonstration, I want to talk about dry brush technique. It's a simple technique that often happens accidentally when the paint runs out on the brush. On rough textured paper, the result is a brush mark that can be used to create textures in many different ways and in different circumstances. Here are just a couple. I'll start by showing you what we mean by dry brush. If I mix up a pot of French ultramarine, load my brush up with it, then apply it to the paper, watch what happens. Because I'm using rough watercolour paper and applying the paint with a light touch using the side of the brush, the paint is only catching the top of the textured surface, creating the sparkly pattern you see here. As the brush runs out of paint, I have to increase the pressure on the brush. In most circumstances, this also helps to accentuate the effect. So, how can it best be put to use? Well, there are many ways in which the technique can be utilised. If you use rough watercolour paper, the effect is likely to happen regularly anyway, often when you're not planning it. That's okay, because 9 times out of 10 the random occurrence is a bonus. Here I've used Prussian blue to create a sky. The hard edge represents my horizon. Dry brush is a great way to suggest the sparkling sunlight on the surface of the sea. The most important thing about the effect is its random appearance. Inducing the random element is one of the hardest things we have to do in watercolour. Anything that helps us achieve that is welcome in my book. To complete the scene, I'm using French ultramarine to add some distant hills. Once the initial blue of the sea has dried, there's nothing to stop me going over it again, this time with the ultramarine. As the paint runs out, I apply a little more pressure with the brush, and hey presto, more of the sparkling dry brush effect. The technique will only work on rough textured paper, and it works best applied with a large round brush, particularly if you apply it using it sideways on. Another way to use the effect is on tree trunks. Here I've applied a dark tone to one side of the tree mixed from burnt umber and French ultramarine. Then I'm softening it off with a damp brush. Allowing the side of the brush to randomly miss bits creates a wonderful peeling bark effect. This can be enhanced by running a dark tone just along some of the edges, to give it the illusion of extra depth. Well, these are just a couple of ways in which dry brush technique can be used in watercolour landscape paintings. How many other ways can you think of? Go on, give it a bash. Enjoy.